Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are continuing on with Concealer Week, and today we are going to be talking about the Mer The Concealer, and I have the old version that comes in the little pot that kind of flipped open, and I love that concealer. Now, I have not heard the best reviews on this one, but I love that original one so much that I thought I really have to give this one a chance. So I have it in the shade Light 1-2, and if you're interested in seeing me apply this concealer, do a full day wear test with check-in, then just keep on watching. So this was a purchase I made at Saks when I was there in New York, I don't know, at this point, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I was just walking around Saks's new beauty floor, which is the entire second floor of their New York City flagship store. And it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And I was a little bit overwhelmed because I think they added a lot of brands and it's just enormous. Anyway, I walked by the La Mer counter and I thought, let me just grab the concealer while I'm here. So that's what I did. I'm sorry, I'm unwrapping it right now. So just for reference, here is the original concealer that they got rid of, I don't know, at least a year ago. I still have this. I still use this. It's still great. And I have it in Light 01. I believe this original concealer only had 3 shades. The newer concealer, I believe, has 5. But I will definitely put information either up on the screen or down in my description box. I absolutely love this concealer, so I hope this one is close, kind of close. So the new one is in stick form. So instead of it being in the pot, it is now in the sticks. So let's do some swatches and compare the 2 shades. So again, I have the original Light 01 and I have the new Light 1-2. And in terms of foundation, I have the Light 02 in the reparative skin tint, and that's actually what I have on my face today. And for the foundation, I have Light 1-2 and also Neutral 2-2. So I use those 2 shades, which work well on my skin tone. So the woman at the counter and I decided that the Light 1-2 would work best for me. There is a lighter shade, but it's a little bit more fair, and that there was a little bit more pink in the tone of the concealer, which doesn't work for me. So here is Light 1-2, and it looks very creamy. So let me just swatch that here. So there is Light 1-2, and then I'm just going to take some of the original light. This one I think is much lighter. Yeah, this one is much lighter than this one. So hopefully this one will work on its own. This original La Mer, when I do use it, it has a pretty intense brightening effect. So not bad that I got something maybe a little bit closer to my skin tone, and especially now in the summertime as I do get a little bit more color on my face, it'll be nice to have something a little bit darker. So currently it's 8:30 in the morning, and since I like to do a full day wear test and do a check-in, I like to make sure you guys know what time I start. So it is 8:30 in the morning. I am 44 going on 45. I have dry, very sensitive, eczema prone skin, and my under eye area is no exception. So it is very, very dry. I don't suffer too much from dark circles. I have like discoloration all around my eyes, but I don't have like the bluish purple dark circles under my eyes, but I do suffer from fine lines. I do have puffiness under my eyes. So those are my under eye issues. So during this concealer week, I'm focusing on my eye area. I'm not really using many of these concealers on my face. So in terms of this wear test, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to this eye as I normally would. And then I think on this eye, maybe we'll play with some different applications. And then I'm going to set one eye with powder and not the other and just see how the concealer takes it. So with stick concealers, sometimes I take a brush and kind of swipe it across the top and then dab that onto my skin. But more often than not, I usually just take it and just swipe it right onto my face because that's the fastest. So I'm just going to start with my under eye here. It feels really creamy. I don't feel like it's tugging my skin at all. And then I'm going to go ahead and work it in with my finger. That seems to have blended in really nicely. It seems to have provided a little bit of coverage. I'm going to go in just a little bit more, maybe on the corner here where I have the most discoloration under my eyes, and work that in. All right, let me go ahead and swipe it on my lid where I also have a bit of discoloration and see how this works. Okay, so far I'm really liking this concealer. I think it feels really nice. It's a little bit thinner than the Clé de Peau concealer that comes in the stick. So there isn't quite as much coverage as the Clé de Peau, which I think is nice if you're doing a more natural look. But of course, I'm just putting a little bit on, so I think you could probably build this up. But there it is on this eye, and here's my face without. So you can see that my skin tone is evened out over here. Here you can still see kind of like the darkness around my eyes. I don't think it's emphasizing lines. I don't think it's doing anything weird. I'm going to go ahead and leave that side, and let's go ahead and apply this side maybe with a brush. So I've really been enjoying the Sigma P82 brush for concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and just swipe it across the top, get some on my brush here, and then just start to dab it underneath my eye. I was just inspecting my eyes, and this one is already creasing a little bit, so this is definitely going to need some powder. But back to this eye where I applied with the brush, I think it looks nice. I think both sides are very comparable. I don't think there's a major difference. So I think you could go in with your favorite concealer brush or with your finger, whatever you prefer. But I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more on the brush and apply it to my lid. All right, so I've applied it to this lid with the brush. And again, I think both sides are very comparable. So I don't see any big like application difference while working both products in. I didn't feel like I had to work it in with my finger or with the brush more or less. So I want to say either tool works just fine. But again, I am noticing a little bit of like creasing and movement on this eye already. So I'm going to go ahead and powder this eye, and then we'll take another look at the difference. So I'm going to take the La Mer Sheer Pressed Powder, and I have it in light 12. And I'm going to take my La Mer powder brush, and I'm just going to dab it in here, pick up just a bit of product on the brush, and then press that into my eye area here. And just really get it into that corner where I saw it creasing already. And then do a nice sweep to get any excess powder off. All right, so there is the eye with the powder, and then the eye without the powder. I really like the eye with the powder. I think it looks pretty flawless right now. So normally what I've been doing with my other concealer reviews is that I've been leaving one eye powdered and one eye unpowdered just to sort of see the difference. But since I already started to see it crease, I think it's safe to say that this is a concealer that you definitely want to set. So I'm going to go right ahead and apply some powder to this eye while we're here. All right, let's take another close-up look here. So both eyes have now been concealed and powdered. I am liking the way it looks so far. Of course, time will tell, because I feel like concealer is one of those tricky products that can go on looking exceptionally flawless and then just kind of fall apart as the day goes on. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, and then I'll do a check-in in the early afternoon, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, so I've had this makeup on for about 5 hours. I just inspected my eye area, and I think this concealer is doing a really good job. I feel like my under eyes, if I were to be hypercritical, they look a little bit dry. And I'm talking like when I really like get into my mirror and I take a really close look, I do feel like they look a little bit drier than the Guerlain or the La Prairie that I've tested already. So I think all in all, it looks fine, but I'm going to zoom you in and I'm going to see if you guys can see, like right here, I feel like it looks a little bit dry. And I have like a line under each eye, which is basically like my squinty line. And I feel like that is a little bit emphasized. But that's just the one thing that I'm noticing with this concealer. Other than that, I feel like it looks good all around my eye, other than that one little area there. And not to say that it looks bad, it just looks a little bit drier than the two previous concealers I've used, or some of my favorite concealers that I really like. Just a little bit drier. But hopefully these zoomed in shots will give you a good idea as to what is going on. In terms of like creasing and longevity and all that stuff, I don't see any weird creasing or shifting or moving of the concealer. I did, however, powder both eyes. If you guys recall, I did use the La Mer Sheer Press powder on both eyes. I think that helped a lot because I did notice it crease without any powder pretty quickly. So it has stayed put now that I have powdered it. So I do think it's behaving quite nicely. I don't think that it is fading per se. I think the coverage is still there. So far so good. So far I'm liking this concealer. So I will come back at around dinner time and give you my final check-in and final thoughts, and I'll see you then. Hey guys, it is about 5:30 at the moment, so I've had this makeup on for about 9 hours, and I really like this concealer. My thoughts really haven't changed that much from my initial application to my first check-in. I think it looks good. I think it looks like exactly the same as it did when I first put it on. It hasn't faded at all. I just have that same sort of observation that I made during my first check-in. It just looks a little bit dry here, but nothing where I feel like, oh my God, like what is going on here? It just looks a little bit like matte, like super matte right here. But I don't think that my lines are, oh, there's like a sunbeam coming in, sorry. I'm gonna zoom in here and hopefully you guys can see that my under eyes look smooth, they look concealed. I don't think that this concealer, with just like one normal layer of application, I don't think that it has like a super high coverage. I was actually a little bit surprised about that. I felt like I swiped on what I would normally swipe on with like a stick concealer, and the coverage was, I want to say like a medium. It definitely wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, like the Clé de Peau, which is more of like a medium full. Even my Surratt concealer is definitely more of a medium full, but this one just seemed like medium. Definitely not towards the full spectrum at all. So that was a little bit surprising. So I really like this concealer. I know that this concealer got some really bad reviews, but I found it to be really nice and it really worked out for me. And also, just to reiterate from my initial application, you definitely have to set this down with powder. So I definitely was seeing creasing pretty quickly. So I am very happy with this concealer. I'm gonna let all of my thoughts sort of percolate a little bit, and I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with my loose powder week. I'm gonna come back and do like a wrap-up video of all of the concealers that I talked about and kind of give you my favorites and the pros and cons to each. And like, if you like a high coverage, you know, get this one. If you have dry under eyes, get this one. I'm going to do that for this. So this one definitely gets a thumbs up from me. I really like it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below if you've tried this concealer. I'm really curious to hear what your experience with this concealer has been. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe before you leave if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.